Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Stay Creative York County. It's me, Sarah, and today is going to be a special episode. Today we are going to be doing a collage, and this is actually inspired by one of the books that we have as part of our York County Reads 2021 program. If you don't know what York County Reads is, it's a community read where everyone in the community reads the same book. We have programming and other events planned around it, and it is meant to bring us all together to read the same book and to think about important things. So, if you want to know more information, there is a link in the description below. You can join in the conversation. And today we are going to be doing the collage, which is inspired by Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson. In Piecing Me Together, the main character, Jade, uses the art form of collage to highlight the beauty in her neighborhood and also to talk about the realities of social injustice. And so through her art, she expresses herself, and because she's doing collage, she uses materials and photos that she takes of her life experiences and the things around her. So she uses receipts and flyers and things that she finds in her community to create her art. And so we are going to be doing a mini collage in this program today. There is also a take and make that is available at the main branch in Rock Hill. If you're interested in getting one, it is on the second floor at the reference desk. It has 2 pieces of poster paper, a small 2x2-inch canvas, a paintbrush, and some Mod Podge. And those are all you're going to need. The only thing you have to add are your own bits of paper and things that you want to put on the canvas. So what we are going to use in today's video is pretty much that. We're going to have a canvas. I'm actually going to be repurposing a piece of watercolor paper that I put down a coat of watercolor paint on. I'm going to be using a paintbrush to apply my Mod Podge, which is what I'm going to be using as my adhesive. I am also going to be using some scissors and X-Acto knife to be able to cut out pieces to put into my collage. And this doesn't have to be just paper and glue. Feel free to bring in colored pencils. I'm using a piece of watercolor paper that already has watercolor on it, so you could use paints. You could put not just paper down, you could use hot glue and put heavier items down as long as the canvas will support it. So really think about what you want to do. Watch this video to get inspired. This one's going to be a little different. I kind of talk through my process of what I'm making, and it's not just a voiceover. You're going to hear me and my thoughts as I create the piece. So without further delay, let's get into the video. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to consider what I'm going to be putting my paper onto. This canvas right here has a flat background. There's some variation in the color, but it is just one color. It's just pink. I do have something like this where it's got different colors mixed in, but I think I'm going to stick with this for now. And I know that I am going to be using an illustration out of here based off of what I have in the background. I'm going to be looking for something kind of green because I kind of want it to contrast with the pink in the back, but I'll look up for other things as well. And I know I want a variation of like a very large thing with smaller things around it. So what I'm going to do, and this is something that you do when you do collage, you look at what you have, you get the pieces you want, and then you start kind of figuring out where you want them on the canvas. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And one thing you can do, or I'm going to try to do, is kind of look at the size of something in comparison to the canvas so you could see how much of something you could fit on there. And I kind of like this open mouth here. So something I'm going to need to consider with something like this is how detailed I want my cuts to be on the inside. Do I want to go in between on the edge of each tooth? Do I want to go kind of around them and give them some space? Or do I just want to cut down and come straight down to the other jaw and make more of like a wedge shape? So I'm going to do something that you shouldn't do with library books, that you can do with magazines or other materials you are not going to be using. I've got my piece. I don't think I'm going to get too detailed with my cuts, mostly because I don't really like having to sit there and apply like very precise pressure and shaping it in a very particular way. Also, I know that if I do Mod Podge on the back of it, that I'm going to have to go in between, or have to get every single tooth to make sure it lays flat. And that may be something you want to do. Just remember that while you're cutting and selecting your pieces to put onto the collage. So I think what I'm gonna do is kind of cut around. And I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife. You could use the scissors, but since this is a very tight space, I'm gonna use the X-Acto. I'm kind of doing kind of a rhythm with the line and just going around the teeth. And I think I'll actually use the scissors to go around that on the outside. So I'm just gonna work on actually using my scissors. I didn't have too much success with the X-Acto knife, mainly because I don't want to damage my table. But I can just cut along the line that I made and it's gonna come out pretty easily. All right, and now I have my piece cut. I can see what it looks like on the page. I can position it like that. I can decide like where I want it, how big I want it to be on the page. Since this is kind of square, I'm thinking about putting it into a corner like this and having things come out this way and maybe even overlap with the top or bottom. So I'm gonna get it kind of positioned on there how I want it. Turn it over, then use my X-Acto to kind of go beyond for a little bit. I'm gonna try that. The butterflies maybe coming out. Yeah, I think I like that. All right, so I'll put it up to the edge there and kind of hold it and cut the excess off. I'm gonna go ahead and find some other pieces to put into this. All right, well, a thunderstorm has started outside. So I may dip in and out with my audio, but we'll see. So now I'm just going to be taking my butterflies and moths and placing them on the canvas how I would like them to be, and then I'm going to start placing the pieces down with those in the background first and then building up from there. Okay, so I have an idea. I really was trying to, I like this guy down here so I could hide the flat edge of his wing. And so I placed this yellow butterfly up here. I think I'm gonna have him go off the canvas. So I think I'm going to incorporate the actual edge and to emphasize that these are flying creatures, place some of the edges of their wings over the top. So you can see that they are flying away. They're flying out of. And so I have this one here. I'm trying to place. I like that shape of pink there. but I don't want all of them outside. I want at least one in the mouth coming out. So I think I'm going to place that right there and that right there. So I think this is going to be my final piece. And what's interesting, I'm looking at this now, I could, once I glue everything down, go back into this with colored pencil in the background or on top of the butterflies and stuff. So I do have some overlapping. So I'm looking at my piece and considering, okay, I don't have anything glued down. This is what I want. What do I need to glue down first? So the things that are on the page that have something on top of it, those things are going to be the first. So these butterflies that I have tucked underneath the crocodile, they're going to be the first things I actually glue down. So I'm going to get to gluing. So what I'm going to do, I have my Mod Podge here. I have a brush that I just use for Mod Podge and not painting. I got this in a pack of several brushes from Michaels. It's their brand Artist Loft. And the reason why I wanted this instead of a sponge brush is because I don't want to put a lot on the page. A sponge brush is going to soak up a lot more inside of the sponge, whereas these bristles are only going to hold so much. And I don't want a lot because I want to prevent that buckling, and I don't want to oversaturate my paper. So do consider your paper and what kind you have and how much Mod Podge you want to put down. So I'm actually going to leave my piece here, hold it and lift it up and put a little bit of Mod Podge on the back. Okay. So I'm going to do that. So I know I want him in a particular place. And then I might see some edges popping up here, so I'll just go back in with my brush. That's another reason I like the brush. I can kind of get in on smaller edges and then press it down. You can use your finger, you could use the back of the brush to kind of bevel those edges down if you don't want them to poke up. You might want to kind of want to put them down on the ground, on the canvas. Another thing you can use, I've had some Stay Creative York County videos where I've used a library card to paint. So I do have like this little old gift card. You could use that. You could use that to lay edges flat, or if you had a really big piece, you could use that to kind of push any air bubbles out to the sides. I think I'm gonna wait to glue these down. I'm gonna put this larger piece down. And since I kind of know where it's gonna be because of that corner, I'm not gonna hold it and do the Mod Podge. I'm gonna go here, I'm taking off the excess from my brush and laying down a thin place the corner down, and then I'm going to apply pressure moving from one point and out so that I don't get any crinkles in the paper. Oop, that's not wanting to stick. I think that might have been too thin of a layer. So we'll go back. Another thing I could do, because this is such a large piece, is to put some Mod Podge on the actual canvas where it's going to be. Alright, it's a little thicker. Alright, so there we go. Oh, that part does not want to go down. Oh, that's okay. Alright, so I'm going to move these guys. And I am Like that. Get some of the edges. So I am done. I have all my pieces down. I may go back into this. I don't know, but for now, I really like it. I like how these pop off of the edge. It might also look good with like maybe a 1/2 inch just solid black or white border around it so they can really see these edges of the wings pop. But yeah, so there's my very simple collage. You can always make yours a little bit more complex, but there we go. Okay, so I've decided to take inspiration from some of the words on the page. One was crocodiles, one was butterflies. So after trying to decide butterdials or crocoflies, I'm gonna go with crocoflies and put that at the bottom of my page because I think that's kind of interesting. Plus it puts something in this corner of interest, and it's kind of funny. And hopefully we'll get people to think about other interesting combinations of animals. Crockle flies. There we go. Crock flies. Perfect. And now we clean up with some magic. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Voila. All right, and that brings us to the end of another and very special Stay Creative York County. I hope that you do try collage. I hope that you found this inspiring and you'll start looking around for those bits and pieces of paper that might not have any significance by themselves. When you bring them together, they may create something different and beautiful. So, this is it. Make sure to join in on the York County Reads. It goes through February, but I have read Piecing Me Together and The Word Collector and have thoroughly enjoyed both. So check out a copy from the library today. We have both physical copies and we have digital copies as well. A little link to the virtual library will be in the description if you're interested in the digital copies. So friends, remember to stay safe. Remember to say something nice to yourself every day and something nice to someone else. You can be a bit of sunshine in these dark and stormy times and dark and stormy weather conditions. And as always, stay creative, York County.